Okay, and I'm back. So, we have an interesting collection about news roundup about Star Wars that I haven't gone through because it's been a few weeks and honestly nothing that big had happened yet, but found some interesting tidbits. First off, a director got fired from the latest Star Wars project, which I totally called. We got the first look at the book of Boba Fett, we got the first look at Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we have Hayden Christensen returning as Darth Vader for the Ahsoka series. So, let's go through all of it. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
Alright, so back home from Guadalajara, and I'm exhausted. I'm dead. It was a long trip, it was a fun trip, but it's one of those that you realize, you know what, I'm not as young as wow. Alright, to quote, Lethal Weapon, I'm getting too old for this shit. I am definitely getting too old for this shit. It's a bit much, but it was fun. Whatever, I enjoyed it. Ate a bunch of great food. It was awesome. But before I get into all this stuff, let me just give you a quick reminder that any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me well, I just realized I messed this up here. All right, you can find me at Super Dario World on YouTube and on Twitch. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Friday streaming at 10 a.m. I don't know what I'm going to do this Thursday because it's Thanksgiving and stuff. But theoretically, I should be back. Who knows? We'll see. I'll play it by ear, as I tend to do. If you want to send me something privately, you can always do that on Instagram at Super Dario World and at Dario SDW. The easiest way for you to contact me would be, again, be a part of the live chat on YouTube and on Twitch. That's always the easiest way. So let's get into all this stuff because we got an interesting collection of Star Wars news. So first off, we'll begin with the first look at the trailers for the new series that people are excited about, the new Disney Plus series, Kenobi. So by people, I mean me. I'm excited for this series. Obi-Wan Kenobi is probably the best part of the prequel series. Ewan McGregor did a fantastic job. The first look trailer was okay. It looked interesting enough. It's not exactly clear what's going to happen, but what is pretty clear that's going to happen is that they want to do the Darth Maul Obi-Wan Kenobi rematch, which should be pretty epic. I remember watching the Star Wars Clone Wars series, and it was a pretty epic matchup. So I guess this show will pick up where the Solo movie left off. Solo movie wasn't great, but at least I think it was a setup to this. Could be pretty interesting. Obi-Wan Kenobi taking on the dark criminal underworld, while at the same time supposedly hiding out at Tatooine. We'll see how it goes. It looks interesting. Then we got the first look at the new the Book of Boba Fett, which comes out December 29th, again on Disney Plus. This one looks a little weird. I'll be honest. Boba Fett they portray him as a type of leader that I really would not have expected from Boba Fett. Boba Fett's kind of a dick, at least in the movies and even in the show. He's kind of a dick. So here, the way they're trying to show him seems off. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It could be interesting. Again, Boba Fett is a great character. They have what's the name? Michelle. Is that Michelle Yeoh? I don't know. But the girl there who's the sniper, she's a great actress. The Stampede. No. The Cavalry. The Cavalry from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So we'll see how that matches up. Next, the next piece of news we got from a new Star Wars video game that's been in development for a while. I'll just report. It's being developed by Quantic Dream. For those of you who don't know who Quantic Dream is, they've worked on several projects, including Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human. Full transparency, I haven't played Become Human, but Heavy Rain's a pretty good story. It's an investigation video game where you're trying to figure out a murder basically. It's supposedly they are working on a Star Wars game, so this piece of news was a little bizarre, but whatever. The studio has yet to confirm or deny these reports, but it seems as though there's more evidence that points towards the existence, as yet another report has stated its alleged setting at codename. So again, it's not confirmed that they're working on this video game, but if they were, this is what they would be working on. So it's one of those things that, I think we're going to be getting more news about this pretty soon, but either way, picked up by Eurogamer, GameBeats Jeff Grubb spoke about Quantic's Star Wars game during this weekly show, Giant Bomb, blah, blah, blah. The Grubb stated that it is taking place during the High Republic era of Star Wars, and its code name is Star Wars Eclipse. So, it's very interesting that they chose this particular this particular time and place to do this, because the High Republic is supposedly the golden age of the Jedi, right? The golden age of the Republic. And so, I mean, I think it's interesting because it's what's actually happening there. Is there a lot happening there? You know, the golden age is not usually where the exciting thing happens. You know, it's not when the Sith are running amok. It's when the Jedi have full control. So are they going to make it so the Jedi are the bad guys here, or just going to be randomly exploring the world and you're going to be, it's going to be an open world thing? I don't know. We'll see. Again, supposedly this game is not even officially being developed. So I'll keep you posted when we get more information about that. And finally, the last bit of news. We're not the last bit of news. So this is something that I found very, very, very funny. Director Patty Jenkins, who most of you might remember from the Wonder Woman movies. I'll just read you the headline. Report: Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron shelved due to creative differences. Now, you guys remember a few months ago, maybe a few years ago, when I first announced that director Patty Jenkins would be making a Star Wars movie. And this was right after Wonder Woman came out, and I said Wonder Woman sucked. And I said, again, back then, this movie is it's going to suck. And it's probably not even going to be made because it's going to suck so bad. Why did I think that? Because director Patty Jenkins at the time was talking about Wonder Woman, and she said very specifically that she did not care about making movies that are part of a bigger universe. And I remember saying, why the fuck would WB hire her? Why would Warner Brothers hire this lady to make a Wonder Woman movie, which is part of the DC cinematic universe, if she doesn't care about making movies that are part of a bigger universe? And then when I found out about the Rogue Squadron thing, I said, why would Disney hire this lady to make a movie that's part of the Star Wars universe if she has no interest in making movies that are part of the Star Wars universe? Lo and behold, she's getting fired. Why? Because she wants to make a Star Wars movie that doesn't have to do with the Star Wars universe, which is stupid. Again, I'll just read you the report. Maybe that's why she's not getting fired. We'll see. Recently, it was reported that Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron was delayed indefinitely by Disney. In a recent report from Puck Matthew Baloney, however, there could be more issues happening behind the scenes. According to the report, Baloney notes that Jenkins and Lucasfilm executives were unable to agree on a script for her planned Rogue Squadron film, which was set to release sometime in 2023. While not unusual in the world of film, it seems like this could have potentially fractured the relationship between the two. Baloney goes on to mention that Jenkins reportedly moved on to other projects she had planned, including the highly anticipated Wonder Woman 3. That's a lie. It's not highly anticipated. At Warner Brothers, it's currently unknown if it's an issue of creative freedom, but Jenkins is far from the first director now seemingly hit the brakes on a planned Star Wars franchise. There's been a lot of them. You guys remember D&D, Dave and Dan from Game of Thrones? That thing's been dead. You remember the Rian Johnson trilogy? Dead. Why? Because Rian Johnson made maybe the worst Star Wars movie ever, including the prequels. And now Patty Jenkins. There's a pattern here. And now it's interesting here to see who's at fault. But let me just continue reading on here. In the same report, because they do mention Rian Johnson here. In the same report, Baloney mentions that Rian Johnson, who directed 2017 Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, also saw his planned Star Wars trilogy shelved over creative differences. According to Baloney, this is a laughably recurring problem for folks at Lucasfilm, with the report noting that various agents have reported that some of the top filmmakers in the world would like to direct a Star Wars film, but are often found held back by micromanagement at the plot point by committee planning. It is currently unknown if whether either Jenkins or Johnson films will be released, but it was a bit of a disappointing turn for the franchise, which has been on the upswing following the series of a successful series, The Mandalorian, and the upcoming The Book of Boba Fett. So, interesting stuff here. Who's at fault here? Is it the director who wants to not follow the rules of a particular universe, or is it the studio who wants to force creative people to follow a particular mold and only do certain things? It could be both. Honestly, it could be a little bit of both. I'm leaning on this particular case. I'm leaning more towards the director being at fault here, because Lucasfilm learned a very harsh lesson when they let somebody go too creative, and that's Rian Johnson. When they let Rian Johnson do something completely wild and different, people hated it because it was stupid and it really did not feel like Star Wars. So when they let people do creative stuff that does feel like Star Wars, people who know what they're talking about, specifically, let's say The Mandalorian, let's say The Clone Wars, people love it. So they kind of figured out, hey, you know what? Maybe we need to keep these creative assholes in check, because sometimes they're like, you know what? I don't really care about making a Star Wars movie. I want to make a big whatever movie with the budget of a Star Wars movie, and I want to make my own thing. Sometimes it works. A perfect example would be Rogue One, which is like an actual war movie that takes place in Star Wars. And sometimes it works out. But I think that they're, in a way, they've, let's just say, they don't feel as adventurous anymore when trying all that stuff out. I think that they should take risks eventually, but I would not do it with a lady who has no interest in making a movie that's part of a bigger universe. And that would completely fuck up the entire franchise if you let her. So, yeah, definitely not. Also, her movie sucked. Wonder Woman sucked. Then Wonder Woman 1984 definitely sucks. So there you go. And Rian Johnson, I don't know what he was doing. It was just too big for him. The movie got out of control for him. He just couldn't do it. So there you go. Finally, the last bit of news, and probably the most exciting bit of news. Actor Hayden Christensen is set to return as Darth Vader for the new Ahsoka Disney Plus series. Now, why is this exciting? First off, because Hayden Christensen had not returned for other stuff. Like Hayden Christensen, if you guys remember, Darth Vader shows up in Rogue One, and it is not Hayden Christensen. So him coming back for this is interesting to me, but it also sets up a very interesting situation for the Ahsoka series. Now, if you guys remember, at the end of Clone Wars, this is probably going to be a spoiler alert, but at the end of Clone Wars, it's left, we see Darth Vader that goes to the crash site where let's say Ahsoka's last known whereabouts are, and he seems, well, you can't really see how he's wearing a mask, but he's like, a little bit torn about it. So what are they going to do here specifically? Because Ahsoka, we've seen her after the Return of the Jedi. So we see Ahsoka, all right, here's the timeline of Ahsoka. We saw her at the end of Clone Wars, which is before episode 4, and we see her on The Mandalorian, which is after episode 6, which is Return of the Jedi. So there's a lot of stuff happening there in between that we have no idea about. And we actually have no idea of a lot of things that happen in the particular timeline, which is very interesting. The Kenobi series is going to take a little bit of that, and the Ahsoka series is going to take a little bit of that. Here's the thing. In The Mandalorian, they set up Ahsoka like she's going to be taking on things afterwards. Like the General I forget his name, but it's the character from one of the books. So they're introducing one of the big villains from the books. I forget his name right now. It'll hit me. I'll remember eventually. Actually, you know what? Let me just look it up, because Admiral Thrawn. That was gonna bug me. So Admiral Thrawn. So they set up Ahsoka like she's gonna go hunting down Admiral Thrawn. So what the hell does Hayden Christensen have to do in this whole situation, right? Like, the actors have never met, and the characters have never met in a live action thing. So is it going to be flashbacks, or is the series going to take place before? Who knows? But it sets up Ahsoka in an interesting situation. Are we going to have a situation where we're going to see Darth Vader take on Ahsoka? Like, that would be fun. Imagine you remember the scene in Rogue One at the end where Darth Vader actually looks like a badass and is fucking terrifying, and it's maybe the best scene in all of Star Wars? Imagine that, but versus Ahsoka. Could be a lot of fun. Could be a flashback. Could be, who knows? Who knows how they're going to handle this? I don't see them handling as a flashback, because it would be a little bit too ridiculous, but who knows? And it also doesn't make sense if he shows up afterwards, when after episode 6, because he'd be dead. So who knows? Honestly, I don't know how they're going to handle this, but it sets up a bunch of interesting situations that I'm like, all right, let's see how you do this. Because so far, they've been doing a good job. With Dave Filoni, he's been doing a really good job with Clone Wars. He did a good job with The Mandalorian. They're setting up a whole, let's say, a universe that has nothing to do with the movies. That's actually better than the movies. So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. He used Anakin Skywalker very well in Clone Wars. So we'll see. I don't know. Could be interesting. Could be nothing. But I'll keep you posted on that stuff. Those are the big highlights that I missed recently. And I'm gonna cut this one short because I got other stuff to do. But as always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Super Dario World on YouTube and on Twitch, streaming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. ish usually. If you want to send me something privately, you can always do that on Instagram at Super Dario World and at Dario SDW. Let me see, what else am I missing here? Yeah, that's it. That's it for today. As always, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again next time.